entitled to regard AfriForum as a political adversary and to criticize it for an unfair prosecution because he believes that they are behind his prosecution. What you cannot do, you cannot take that political statement by Mr. Malema and take it to account in sentencing.
I hear you fully.
Yes, thank you, Malik. Then they are also complaining that he has complained of racism. Why is the state complaining that Mr. Malema is complaining of racism when he's a victim of racism? Makes no sense to me at all.
Okay, I'm not going to respond, but I'm listening, yes?
No, I'm not asking your leadership to respond. It's a rhetorical question. Is why would the NPA complain that Mr. Malema is saying this prosecution is part of a racist campaign against him? Why would they have an issue with that? And why would your leadership be required to put that in your judgment in sentencing? Now, the last one is the Holy Spirit. Nothing needs to be said about that. Then C is showing no insight to the danger of 20,000 people. But if you look at closely, my lady, is precisely the same point as Roman figure 2. Nothing is added by putting it here. Then D, he has sought throughout to conflate the rule of law with political persecution, undermining public confidence in the administration of justice. Now, it's unclear what are the facts on which they rely here. Why do they accuse him of undermining public confidence in the administration of justice? What did he actually do? Because, my lady, people that undermine confidence in the administration of justice, you know what they do? They don't come to court at all. They shout at the courts from outside, and then they are ultimately found guilty of contempt of court for not showing up.
Tension gripped the magistrates' court in Kokompositri in the Eastern Cape on Wednesday as Julius Malema faced the prospect of imprisonment, with his legal team making a passionate plea for the court to impose a non-custodial sentence. The proceedings marked a critical moment in the high-profile case against the Economic Freedom Fighters EFF leader, whose sentencing has drawn national attention and sparked intense public debate. Magistrate Twanet Olivia presided over the hearing, listening to final arguments from both the defense and the state before postponing the judgment to Thursday morning. Outside the courthouse, thousands of EFF supporters gathered in a show of solidarity, many having camped overnight following a vigil. A heavy police presence was deployed to maintain order, underscoring the charged atmosphere surrounding the case. At the heart of the matter is Malema's October 2025 conviction on 5 counts under the Firearms Control Act, stemming from a 2018 incident at an EFF rally in Tanzania. During the rally, Malema fired a semi-automatic rifle into the air, an act the state argues posed a grave danger to thousands in attendance. Leading the prosecution, Advocate Joel Caesar called for a harsh sentence, urging the court to impose up to 15 years imprisonment. As an alternative, he proposed a 10-year sentence with 3 years suspended, coupled with fines on the remaining counts. Caesar painted a stark picture of the incident, describing the firearm used as an assault rifle capable of causing catastrophic harm. He relied heavily on video footage of the rally, referring to it as a silent witness that captured the gravity of the moment, and said they say a picture speaks 1,000 words. This is one of those instances. He argued that Malema's actions placed more than 20,000 people at risk in one of the country's most densely populated areas. According to the stage, footage showed individuals in the direct line of fire, with some scrambling for safety as shots rang out. Said it was by the grace of God that nobody got hurt, characterizing the conduct as reckless and barbaric. Central to the state's argument was the notion that Malema, as a public representative and a lawmaker, bore a greater responsibility to uphold the law. Caesar warned that a lenient sentence would set a dangerous precedent, and said it will effectively tell people that charging firearms in public carries no real consequence. In contrast, Malema's defense team sought to contextualize the incident, urging the court to view it as an isolated lapse rather than a pattern of criminal behavior. Advocate Lawrence Hodges argued that all 5 charges arose from a single incident lasting less than 2 minutes. He described the custodial sentence as disproportionate, emphasizing that Malema had no prior convictions and had led what he termed a blameless life. Hodges told the court that Malema had briefly handled the firearm after it was handed to him by co-accused Adrian Snyman, who was later acquitted. According to the defense, the weapon was licensed and linked to security services, and Malema had no intention of using it beyond the moment captured at the rally. He further pointed to comparable cases where the individuals discharged firearms in public yet avoided prison sentences. This included incidents involving civilians and even police officers, some of which resulted in suspended sentences or fines despite posing significant risks. Hodges argued that the state's approach was inconsistent. On the one hand, portraying Malema as an ordinary citizen who should be treated equally before the law, and on the other, using his political stature to justify a harsher punishment. And so that is the conundrum that arises in the state's approach. The defense's rebuttal was delivered by Advocate Tembeka Ngugatobi, who reiterated the call for a non-custodial sentence. His submissions briefly veered into controversy when he referred AfriForum, prompting Magistrate Olivia to intervene and caution him against straying from the core issues. The exchange drew audible reactions from the gallery, forcing the magistrate to warn that any further disruptions will not be tolerated. She further clarified that the reference had indeed been introduced earlier by the state. Beyond the legal arguments, the case carries significant political implications. Should Malema be sentenced to more than 12 months imprisonment without the option of a fine, he will automatically lose his seat in parliament, a development that could reshape the political landscape. Addressing supporters outside court after proceedings adjourned, Malema struck a defiant yet composed tone and said, "We have received messages and prayers from churches and communities across the country. We trust that everything will unfold according to the will of God." He reassured his supporters that there was no cause for panic and dismissed any suggestion that the case will derail the EFF's political mission, and said there is nothing that will disrupt the revolution. Malema also signaled his intention to continue fighting the case regardless of the outcome and said, "I will appeal this matter up to the highest court." Meanwhile, a supporter who traveled from Qonce articulated a common sentiment among the crowd and said they must allow Julius Malema to go home because he has done nothing wrong. He argued that the prosecution was politically motivated, alleging that the attacks on Malema stem from his willingness to speak out against the ruling African National Congress and other opposition groups like AfriForum, and said people know that he killed no one on the day of the event. The gun he used does not belong to him, yet the court decided to let the owner walk free. What's your take on this one, people? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more news.